From tomorrow, farmers in 2 areas of England will be able to shoot badgers. It's taken years of arguing to get to this point, but a limited cull of about 5,000 badgers will go ahead in the hope of controlling TB in cattle. The disease has been getting worse since the 80s, and farmers say every time they clear their farms by slaughtering all their cows, they then get reinfected from badgers. Those opposed to a cull, though, say that even if that were true, killing badgers will have no effect on preventing TB in cattle. Well, we're joined by the Farming Minister, David Heath, in our radio car. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's put aside the rights and the wrongs of this at the moment. Just on the challenge that the next 6 weeks presents in these pilot areas. And it is quite a challenge, the number of badgers that need to be killed, isn't it?
Well, it is challenging, but it's also based on what the previous trials told us in terms of the science, as what exactly we have to do in order to be sure to reduce the incidence of TB in the area. And that's what we want to do. We certainly don't want to be killing badgers and having no effect whatsoever on the incidence of TB.
And what you suggest has to be done is that you have to kill 70% of the badgers in an area.
That's right. Yeah, that's what the trials which were carried out by Professor Krebs told us, that if we reach that sort of target, then we will see a significant reduction in TB.
And how do you know when you've reached that?
Well, we have first of all, there's an original estimate of the number of badgers, but that is inevitably not accurate. What we have then is what's called hair testing, which is done on every carcass, which will give a clear view, a clear scientifically based view of the proportion of the total population that's been taken out. So we will know at the end of the period whether we have reached those targets or not.
Because we were hearing from our reporter earlier that you're talking about killing 70 badgers a night in Gloucestershire, 50 a night in Somerset, to try to get to what you think is that level, but as you're saying, you don't even know that it is.
Well, we know pretty sure. A lot of work has been done on this in order to estimate the total number of badgers. But as I say, what we have within the system is a self-righting mechanism, which means that if we are wrong in our original estimates, either above or below, that will show up in the figures as they emerge at the end of the period.
OK, and of course what the earlier trials showed was that there was a problem, that you clear an area and you have the remaining badgers move out, other badgers move in, and you spread the disease.
Well, 2 things about that. I mean, first of all, it's not clear that always and inevitably happens, and certainly we've improved the design of the cull areas since to provide hard boundaries. Secondly, what the evidence from the last trial showed was, yes, there was an initial so-called perturbation effect, but that actually reduced very rapidly in the 6 months, year, 2 years afterwards, and so you actually do get a very significant net reduction in TB incidence. And let's remind ourselves that there is not a single country in the world that has successfully borne down on bovine TB without doing something about the reservoir in the wildlife population, whether it's Ireland, whether it's New Zealand, whether it's Australia. All the countries that have successfully dealt with this disease have employed a policy very similar to ours.
And when will you know if it has been successful? When will you be able to turn around and say, look, we did it and it worked?
Well, again, let's be clear what we're trying to achieve here. What we're trying to show in these pilot culls, we know what the scientific background is. What we need to know is whether it can be done humanely, whether it can be done safely, whether it can be done efficiently.
So you're not even testing whether it's effective on TB, you're just affecting whether it's doable?
Well, that's the purpose of the pilot culls, but let's put it into the context of everything else that we're doing as well, because this is just one small part of a strategy to eventually, I hope, get us back to disease-free status, and that means improved biosecurity. It means increasing the controls on cattle movements. It means working on the vaccines, which we see as a very large part of the eventual answer, but they aren't ready yet, and we cannot use them effectively yet. Put all those things together, have a comprehensive strategy, and we might be able to deal with a devastating disease that kills 28,000 cattle each year and results in about £1 billion costs over a 10-year period to the taxpayer.
David Heath, thank you very much.